Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Whether you're here all the time or this is your first time, how many people have not ever been to CRC before? Raise your hand. So we couldn't be happier. Flannery couldn't be happier that you are here to be with her, to be with us, to say these words and sing these songs and marvel at Flannery. And Flannery, I'm so glad you went bold and colorful. It allows us to really believe that there is hope. You know, just the fact that you showed up and showed up in this way, I think lifts us all up. So before you've even done anything, you've done something fantastic. So I know you're looking out and seeing all these people from your life. Your task today, Flannery, is to help lead us in prayer, to chant from the Torah, which I know you'll do beautifully, and give us words. And your words that you've prepared over these months are inspiring, and they're going to also be helpful. Our task is to just fill this space with love, with goodness, you know, with support, the people who've known you forever, right? The people who are just getting to know you because you're leading this service, becoming Bat Mitzvah. And I do know that your dad's memory is all over this place and all over this Bat Mitzvah. And I know your mom is going to have sort of some of the last words of this ceremony when she talks to you. Are you ready for that part? Yeah,
okay.
A little bit. But I'm also going to kind of let her have some of the first words as well, because Stephanie, with so much honesty at the very beginning of the book, what you wrote, that these last few months have truly been the worst, and so it is with great determination and spite, that was a well-chosen word, that we dare to claw back what joy we can. So that's where I'm at, clawing back some joy. For you, for your family, for your friends, for our community, for this person here. So glad she's here with us. Come on in, you guys, find a seat. Find a seat. Community for, we don't stand on ceremony here, right? Everyone shows up exactly as they are and who they are. And we also sing, another way that we claw our way into lifting our spirits. And so on page 2, We begin the morning the way our tradition teaches us to begin each morning, despite everything, despite the things that are challenging and sad and difficult. We are supposed to count our blessings. And Flannery, for right now, for us, being here with you is a blessing. So we're thankful for that. And so we sing on page 2 a prayer of thanksgiving, just because we started out this day together. We continue with some more prayers that have been turned into songs, courtesy of Rabbi Daniel and Leslie and Robert. The next 2 prayers in the service are all about goodness. All that's good and high and holy, we say, and it's all about welcoming each other. So I invite you, even with masks on, you can see each other's eyes. Just look around and see who's gathered here, people you know and people hopefully you'll get to know as we share these moments with each other. I know Flannery's so excited that our 4th graders are here with their families, right? You were in 4th grade once, remember?
Yep, I remember.
Back in New City School and CRC Religious School. 4th graders, and there they are. And their parents are here because they're here to see about Mitzvah. I know it seems like a long time away before your bat and bar and bait mitzvahs, but it kind of happens, doesn't it? Just sort of time flows, and there's lots in between now and then, but it will happen. And so we wanted to make sure you saw, and this is the right bat mitzvah for you all to be at, for us all to be at. And so on page 3, how good it is to be together, how good it is to be here.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
We continue on page 4 with Birchot HaShachar, which are blessings of gratitude. They are potentially things that we might not even think about from a day-to-day basis, but they remind us to be grateful for what we have, that our bodies work, that we are all here able to celebrate Flannery becoming a bat mitzvah. So, your turn.
Please chant together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzamo. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has created me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'torim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arunim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the needy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten li'yaev koach. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher hechim mitzadei gaver. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who guides the steps of human beings. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrah pirtei yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchayedecho be'Yisrael, ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv v'meru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach, Le'olam u'me'omaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal, Shemei Kedusha b'richu, Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, Tushbichata v'nechemata, Da'amira v'alma, We're continuing on page 6.
We are only as strong as we are united, as weak as we are divided. Please rise as we call each other to prayer with the Baruch Hu. There are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshek, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, ha'ma'ir la'aretz v'ladarim, aleha berachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit, ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha, Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al ma'arei or she'asita yifa'arucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'morot.
Together. In some special way, every person completes the universe. If I do not play my part, I injure the pattern of all existence. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day, it is
Through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass, and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood this moment.
the ones that love us never really leave us. You can always find them.
I think we need to dwell on that, right? The ones that love us never really leave us. And this prayer emphasizes that love is eternal. Love is forever. We're on page 9. This, as you can see, Flannery has filled this siddur with passages that are meaningful to her and that she hopes are meaningful to all of us. We call them kavanot. They're kind of surprise parts of the service. We all expect the Shema, which we'll sing in a moment together, those of us that know Jewish prayer. But, this wonderful passage from Amanda Gorman isn't in every service. So it kind of allows us to balance what is, expected with what is a little bit different. And so we ask our students to fill up their prayer book with those passages and words that are meaningful to them so that they can maybe become meaningful to the whole congregation. And this particular poem, Flannery, you read in 6th grade, I guess all the way back last year in 6th grade, for a poetry reading. So Flannery wanted to put this as part of this Shabbat service where she's becoming bat mitzvah right in front of her eyes. So here's the wonderful words of Amanda Gordon.
We are the new generation. Watch us rise. We recognize legacy as opportunity, leadership as our duty. We climb as a community, celebrating our history and creating the future in our own reflection. Each of us is a thread, a connection, heading together in a single direction. We step forward. We go all in. We know becoming the best means raising up all the rest, because victory doesn't begin until we all win. Please join me in chanting the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
Continuing on page 12. After everyone's seated, of course. Ready?
Okay. V'havta
Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinamtam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlektecha v'derech, uvshokbecha uvkumecha, uvshartam le'od al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha, uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, l'man tizkeru v'yasitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kiddushim le'Elohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiot lachem le'Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Together, you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might.
Take to heart these words which I command you this day. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you arise. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as symbols between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Remember to do all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am your God who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your God.
Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you.
I have to also, at this point, this redemption prayer, we call it a protest prayer, bring in the words, of course, of Dr. King. This weekend that you become Bat Mitzvah is the weekend right before the national holiday to honor and celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a holiday for all people, a holy day for all people. And going along with the Micha Mocha, Dr. King said that what we need all the time are voices of unarmed truth and unconditional love. So, in the spirit of Dr. King, whenever we raise our voices, when it's important, when it's meaningful, when it's to make a difference in the world, let our voices be filled with unarmed truth and unconditional love. Micha Mocha, page 13.
Bakodesh, mi kamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha, neta bakodesh, nora tehilo, ose pele, nora tehilo, ose pele. Shira Hadasha Elokat Yisrael Uvtechinu Mecha Yehuda v'Yisrael Go'aleinu Adonai Tzivaot Shemo Kadosh Yisrael Baruch Atah Adonai Gal Yisrael Siyaham Bakukin Yen Kwenkos 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 Siyaham Bakukin Yen Kwenkos. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of Yah. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of Yah. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching, we are marching. We are marching in the light of God. Mikamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mikamocha neda b'kodesh. Mikamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mikamocha neda b'kodesh.
We continue on page 15 with tefillah, which is our time to pray as we move out of one section of our service into the next section. But it's so much more than that. There will be words on the page, and you are welcome to join us in those words, but it's also time to connect to ourselves and to connect to what's inside of us that maybe we haven't tapped into in a long time. So join us in the words of the page, or feel free to just use the words of your heart.
Please rise.
Adonai, Sifetai Tiftach, Ufi Agid, Tehilatecha, Adonai, Sifetai Tiftach, Ufi Agid, Tehilatecha, Adonai, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula v'imei b'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah.
Together. Blessed
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, God of our fathers and mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Leah, and God of Rachel. You are the great, mighty, and awesome God, God supreme. You bestow good, kind deeds, possess everything, and remember the kind deeds of our fathers and mothers. With love, you bring redemption to their descendants for the sake of your help. You are our ruler, helper, savior, and shield. Blessed are you, Adonai, shield of Abraham and help of Sarah.
Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mahaye hakol ata rav lehoshia.
Michalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishemei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memi, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol, Baruch ata Adonai, Mechaye hakol.
There are two ways to live. You can live as if nothing is a miracle, or you can live as if everything is a miracle.
We're on pages 18 and 19. This is the prayer that is named holiness. So I know that you're starting to feel the holiness that Flannery is helping to provide, bring to this space, to infuse these moments as something other than ordinary. They're supposed to be extraordinary. And the fourth graders know this because we lift up on our tippy toes when we sing Kadosh, 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 right? To try to reach even higher, to try to become our best selves, to reach for the transcendent and maybe even the divine, if that's the language that you choose and prefer. But the idea is that something, maybe many things about the time we spend together will allow us to be better, so that we can go out from this service, from this bat mitzvah, and help make the world a better place, to bring holiness from here to everywhere. So we fill the spaces between us, those physically here, those watching on the stream, our neighbors, people we'll never meet. We try to fill in the spaces between us with Kiddusha, with holiness.
מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרון, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated.
Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light.
That's for sure. So the next prayer on page 20 is inserted into the service on Shabbat, and it's all about keeping and guarding and observing Shabbat and all the different ways we do that this Sabbath. And the number that's operative here is 7, right? The Shabbat is on the 7th day. And I asked Flannery permission. First of all, I think Rabbi Carey and I are so glad to be up here with Flannery because we feel so much cooler just by being next to you.
Yep.
It might not seem like that to you, but I feel that.
Maybe we can follow her around so we can stay cool.
Lots of coolness. I'm sure your friends know exactly what I'm talking about. But the reason I bring this up now is because the secret of Flannery's awesome rainbow hair is 7 hours, right? It was a 7-hour process, right? So not only did it come out great, but it also reminds us of all those 7s that are supposed to be about wholeness and completion. We have 7 little square windows. That was intentional above the ark to remind us that we need to have these moments of wholeness and completion, whether it's 7 hours to get our hair that way, 7 days for rest and for renewal, all the different ways that we can not ignore the schmutz, because we can't. Not ignore the stuff that is really hard and difficult, but to try as hard as we can to also bring it around to those 7 moments, those moments that kind of bring us closer to wholeness. And so that's Shabbat, as we try really hard. And we have partnership in that endeavor so that the 7th day for us and all who observe it can elevate us, and in doing so, we hope elevate the whole wide world.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורות לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Continuing on page 21, a prayer of acceptance of all of our holy and sacred intentions.
Together.
Be gracious, O God, to your people Israel, and receive their prayers with love. May the service of your people Israel be pleasing to you forever. You are near to all those who seek your presence. Reveal yourself to us and have compassion upon us. May our eyes see you return to Zion in mercy. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who restores your Shekhinah to Zion.
The way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. While I live, I hope.
Nope.
Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding.
And there you have it. We wind up this part of the service with prayers for peace. And shalom kind of encompasses all of the good stuff, not just peace, but love and compassion and justice on this Martin Luther King weekend, but all times justice and righteousness and joy. Shalom is all of it, everything that is that fills the world with peace.
Shalom, Tova u'bracha. Sim shalom, Tova u'bracha. Sim shalom. חסד, חן וחסד ורחמים. עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עמך שים שלום.
So we take a moment for silent meditation. Flannery has given us some wonderful quotes that we can look back over if you want to take a moment and flip back through. She's provided us with, yet again, once another beautiful quote. So we just take a moment to connect with ourselves.
Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen.
Amen. For peace. Amen. So Flannery, we are now on page 24, about to begin, as it says on the top of that page, the Torah service. So to begin all of that, you're going to let us know that all of us should.
Please rise.
Correct. So we're going to start bringing a number of people up to join us to help with the service and to be up close with Flannery to give her blessings. But we're going to first make sure that Flannery holds onto our Torah scroll. And so to facilitate that, we're going to pass the Torah through the generations. So where's Grandpa Jim? Come on up, Grandpa Jim. And of course, your mom, Stephanie, come on up. And you know, your great-grandpa Jack was going to be in this line, this illustrious line of your relatives and ancestors, but he wasn't feeling too well. So he's watching from home. You want to say hi to great-grandpa Jack? What do you call him?
Grandpa Jack.
Grandpa Jack. He knows he's great, so you don't have to add that. But and also by the magic of video, we'll be hearing from great-grandpa Jack not too long from now. So stay tuned for that. But for now, let's have Grandpa Jim come over here, and your mom here, and then you go right by your mom, and I'm going to turn things over to Rabbi Karen. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, we have cousins now. Tweelan, right? Tweelan, and Sam. Tweelan and Sam, come on up. They're going to open the ark doors so we can get that Torah out. Thank you. Come on up. Hi, guys. Pick a door. And there we go.
There you go.
And you want to give Flannery a high five or something. And you guys can have a seat. Okay.
I'm going to go on that side. Flannery, this is such an honor to be able to pass down this Torah through the generations of your family and to be here with you to celebrate. This is a really special Torah. I'm guessing you've seen this Torah before, maybe heard its story. But for those who haven't, this is a really special Torah that we always use in B'nai Mitzvah to pass down. This Torah came from a town in Czechoslovakia called Holosov, and it is a town that was captured by the Nazis during the Holocaust. And their goal was to erase Jewish life, to save all the objects, put them in a museum so we could remember Jewish people, but to get rid of all the Jews. And we know that didn't happen because we are here today But luckily, when people went in after the Holocaust, they found all these objects, and they were sent to communities to become living objects again. And so this Torah has had quite a journey, and it has been held by many B'nai Mitzvah because we want to give it life, and we want to show that even when things are tough, we have resilience. And I think you've shown that beautifully, and your family has shown that beautifully. Kind of to steal a word from you, in spite of everything, you're here, and we get to celebrate you, and we get to pass you this Torah. So it's a really special moment, and we hope that you will take it and live it here at CRC, and live it out in the world. I remember a few years ago before the pandemic when we were in Hebrew school, and you were about this tall then, I think, and we would sit out there for services, and you were always surrounded by people, and you always had so many friends, and you always seemed so interested. And I hope that that continues to live on much longer than today. And so I'm going to pass this to your grandfather. There you go, and you can pass it. Okay, and you're going to come up here.
Ready?
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema. And while the Torah is getting adjusted there, that feel good? That feel all right? You got it. You for sure got it. You know, I know that this room is filled with your mother's people and your father's people and all the people who love you and who are ready now to learn from you. And so what we always say at this point is put your books down if you want, you know, so your hands are free because the music is jumpy and you can do some clapping. And Flannery's going to kind of parade around. We call it a circle around a hakafah with the Torah, so you can connect with Flannery or connect to the Torah, however you want to kind of use this moment. But it's about community, about this community that's come together for Shabbat, that's come together for this bat mitzvah. There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
No.
So the flame is on this Torah cover. And you'll hear from Flannery, but you know, we're just starting the book of Exodus with the story of the burning bush. The bush that was on fire, but it didn't get consumed. What a symbol, what a metaphor. You know, we have fires. But you know, we have to come through it. We're resilient. Flannery is resilient. Our community, our world has to be resilient. And so this is the time. This is the time to show that. And so in the words of the ancient Hebrew prophets, we say, hit it! You ready?
Hey, go that way.
This way, this way.
Oh, you're into
Oh, no, you're right, that way. right, Flannery, let everyone know that's standing that they've gotten their yayas out, their spilkies out, and now it's time for them to please be
Seated.
seated. Correct. All right. Let's see. Couple things before we have the privilege, the honor of hearing the words from Torah, the very first portion of the book of Exodus, of Shemot, chanted to us by Flannery. I want to first mention Flannery's tutor, her teacher, Toby, who I see eyes of pride as you watch Flannery. I know that the two of you really made quite a connection and probably knew each other from religious school, and then that friendship, that Havruta, strengthened even more by working together to help get Flannery ready to do what she's doing now, this mitzvah, as a bat mitzvah of chanting the Torah. I know the fourth graders that are here and your classmates in the seventh grade, know Toby and her husband Stuart, and so we're so thankful to you for being one of our sacred teachers, and wanted to honor you as we go forward in the service to hear from the scroll. Flannery, we're going to again bring up people from your life to make blessings for what you're doing for us. We call it a mitzvah to hear Torah on Shabbat. The first Aliyah actually is not even in person. As I mentioned, great-grandpa Jack couldn't be here, but thanks to Autumn, our whiz in the streaming booth, and also to great-grandpa Jack for making the video, we have the first Aliyah on video. So I'm going to call up great-grandpa Jack, and he's going to pop up via electrons and all that cool stuff that happens in the 21st century. And Grandpa Jack will do the blessing before the Torah, and then on page 25, you'll see the Hebrew in its print form of the part of the portion that Flannery is chanting. If you'd like to also see, as I said, it's the famous burning bush story. If you'd like to see the translation, that's also on page 26. But for now, it's a privilege to call him up. Grandpa Jack, Ya'amdu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam voed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yeah. All right, you start.
Umoshe haya ro'eh et tzon yitrachotno kohen midyan vayinhag et hatzon ahar hamidbar vayavo el har ha'elohim choreva vayar malach Adonai elav v'lo ba'esh mitoch hasne vayar v'hinei hasne bo'er ba'esh v'hasne einenu ukal vayomer Moshe asurana v'er'eh et hamarei hagadol hazeh Madua loibar hasne.
Beautiful. And now Grandpa Jack again with the
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam nata b'chotenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Grandpa Jack Yasher Koach and Refuah Shlema. Hope you feel better soon, but you were definitely here with us. That's pretty awesome. So the second Aliyah, I'm going to actually call two people I think you know pretty well up here. Your Aunt Carolyn, sorry. By the way, helping get the Torah ready, kind of behind the scenes, were your Aunt Sarah, your Aunt Rhoda, and your Aunt Jess right there in the front row, and they will be back. But for now, we're going to call up your Aunt Carolyn and your mom for the second Aliyah. Ta'amdu, Chana, Elena, Vishira, Leah. Oh, and Lena, right? Your cousin Lena, Aliyah Torah, Sheni.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach. Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu michol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. You guys stay up here. Lena got to see the Torah earlier, so you got to see what your cousin's up to here. And now the second Aliyah.
Vayar Adonai kisar nirot vayikra elav Elohim mitoch hasneh vayomer Moshe Moshe vayomer hineni vayomer al tikrav halom shal na'alecha me'al raglecha ki hamakom asher ata omed alav admat kodesh hu. Vayomer anochi Elohei avicha Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov v'yaster Moshe panav ki yareh machabit el ha'Elohim.
And the blessing after on page 26.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. So now we're actually, Stephanie, you're going to stay up here. Sorry. But we're going to ask your aunt and your cousin to take their seat. You're right here, Flannery. You're right behind Flannery, Stephanie. So we wanted you to stay here, Stephanie, because this is Flannery's Aliyah, the Aliyah, where even though she's been our Torah chanter and doing a beautiful job all along, this is really when you become bat mitzvah, a daughter of the tradition, who we know will bring all that's meaningful to you about Judaism and rituals and traditions and teachings into your life as you go into the next chapter, teenagehood. I think you've gotten there. I feel like, and then adulthood, and we hope and pray that part of what makes your life meaningful and rich and holy will be your Judaism, and that's part of becoming bat mitzvah. But we also know for sure that you're, as you journey into your life of maturity and independence, will add your own stamp onto this Torah, onto Jewish tradition. You will bring who you are into who we are as a people, and that really is wonderful. And we all are anticipate everything that you'll bring as a full member of the Jewish community. So it's more than an honor, Flannery, to call you to the Torah. As an Aliyah, as a bat mitzvah, using your Hebrew name, which you can look at the cover. Flannery's Hebrew name is a wonderful name, Batya Yohana, and Batya is for your great-grandma Paula, and Yohana for your great-grandpa Jim. So those names, again, ancestors, and you are your own self, we know that for sure, but you also have in you all the people that have been part of your life and that will be part of your life, including those wonderful grandparents, great-grandparents, whose names you carry. So Flannery, I'm going to call you to the Torah with that beautiful Hebrew name that we told you we would reserve for special occasions, and I can't imagine an occasion more special than you get to be bat mitzvah. So for you to finish out your Torah reading, I'm going to call you to the Torah. Hold on one second. You'll do the blessings and finish your passage. Ta'amod, Batya Yohana, Bat Daniel, Zichrono Livracha, Vishira Leah. your Hebrew name includes the names of your parents, which is also very special. Aliyah L'Torah. Blessing.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
You ready? Finish it up.
Vayomer Adonai Ra'o Ra'iti Et Oni Ami Asher B'Mitzrayim Ve'et Za'akatam Shamati Mipnei Nogesav Ki Yadati Et Machova Va'ered Lahatilo Miyad Mitzrayim Ulaha'alato Min ha'aretz ha'hi El eretz tova Urechava El eretz v'chalav udvash El makom ha'kena'ani V'chachiti V'emori V'ha'perizi V'chachi V'hayevusi Va'ata hine ta'akat b'nei Yisrael ba'elav v'gam ra'iti et halahat asher Mitzrayim lahatim otam.
Yasher Koach. And the blessing after.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'Hayei Olam Natan B'Tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Beautiful job. Go get some nachas from your mama. However you define nachas. And I hope, I know we all felt the wonderful holiness. Stephan, you can have a seat once again. Want to mention too the yad. The word for hand is also the word for the tool that helps us read from the Torah without touching the scroll. And this is a Toby's yad, always known as Toby's yad, and all of Toby's students are able to use this yad. So even though you're far away in the third row over there, you were very close to Flannery as she chanted so beautifully. So thank you for that. We take a little moment in the midst of the Torah service to think about those in our community and those in our families who could use a healing touch, all kinds of healing. We always say healing of mind, body, and spirit. I know that everyone can think of someone, maybe it's even your own self, that could use healing prayers. And I'm looking at my friends, Margie and Nancy, and Margie, your mom, just healing for the morning. You know, we'll say Kaddish in a bit, but I know that there's also healing, which is part of that is coming here, right? And knowing that we love you, and Nancy loved your mom, and Margie loved your dad. So we offer you healing prayers. Grandpa Jack, of course. So many people in our community could use the benefit of this group that's gathered here, and the spirit and the strength that we have to send to them. A few people that we're praying for at CRC, members have asked us to pray for Robert Shepard and Martin Fay, Debbie Gordon, Rachel Bogard, who is Eileen Ehrlich's cousin's daughter, who was diagnosed with breast cancer. So we are sending healing. I know Eileen's always watching on the stream. Carolyn Hyman, continued healing. Becky's mom, Gloria Zool. And I know we're filling this space with names of the people that you are thinking of. We could figure out ways to bring healing to them. So our healing prayer, which is always inserted in the midst of the Torah service, is on page 27. So let's sing that together.
There's those in need of healing with Refuah Shelima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
You know, we're all thinking about Rabbi Susan, Rabbi Jim, and Jake and Sarika. You know, this is the time of the yard site for Adina of blessed memory, who we miss, and we send them healing prayers. And for all of you, you know, who are on that healing path, and I know Daniel's part of bringing healing somehow, some way to your whole family. So we say the words that we hope kind of seal the healing prayer. It's called a Chatima. It's on the bottom of page 27. We say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim, blessed is the Holy One who helps us find ways of bringing healing to those who are ill. And we say together, Amen. All right, Flannery. Oh, we're going to put the cover on. The brand new cover for the Torah. We'll talk more about that in the announcements. But first, more from Flannery. Every Torah portion has an accompanying Haftorah portion, a passage from the books of the prophets. And you and Shemot pulled Isaiah, mighty prophet Isaiah, prophet of social justice and making sure that we stay true as a society to our highest ideals. That no divisions and that we don't leave anybody behind. These are preaching words. And so Flannery's going to first chant the blessing on page 28, and then the Haftorah, words from the Haftorah itself, and then the blessing after, and then we are going to be treated to a teaching. I know, Flannery, you're used to being taught, you and your John Burroughs classmates being taught by teachers, but this is a moment where Flannery, you are our teacher. And so Haftorah and then your commentary.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divarehem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Havaim Yashresh Yaakov Yatzitz Ufarach Yisrael Umalu Fnei Tevel Tenuva Hakmakat Makehu Hikahu Im Kehereg Harugav Horag Basasa Bashacha Teri Vehena Haga Baruch HaKasha B'Yom Kadim. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Can I start over?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That was a great giggle. Keep going. Start over.
Baruch.
It is a funny prayer.
No, it's my mom.
It's your mom?
Yep.
How sacrilegious. What's she doing?
She's making a funny face.
She's got a mask on.
It's so funny.
Okay. Ready? Let's do it together. Ready?
No.
Okay, no.
We should do it together.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Tzur kol ha'olamim. Tzadik b'chol hadorot. Ha'el ha'ne'eman. Ha'omer v'oseh. Ha'medaber u'mkayem. Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanva'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod u'tifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach Uvrachim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. I did it. You did do it.
I need some water.
It was great. This will be part of like the bat mitzvah outtakes. Autumn, you on that? Okay, deep breath. All right, teach us something, Flannery.
Okay.
Here we go.
The Torah portion I just read is called Shemot, which means names. It's from the start of the second book of the Torah, Exodus. The previous book, Genesis, ended with the Jews living in Egypt with Joseph. Everyone was doing well. Suddenly, at the start of Exodus, the Jews are now informed by the new Pharaoh of Egypt that they are now slaves. Pharaoh instructed all the Jewish midwives to kill the baby boys, but the midwives resisted this order, so Pharaoh then ordered all Jewish women to throw their infant sons into the Nile so that they would drown. One day, while bathing at the river, Pharaoh's daughter discovered a basket with a Jewish baby in it. She took him in, knowing he was Jewish, and named him Moses. Many years later, after he had grown into an adult, Moses witnessed an Egyptian hitting a Jew. This planted the seeds for his later radicalization and his role in leading the Jews to freedom. He killed the Egyptian, which led to Pharaoh wanting to kill him. To avoid being put to death, Moses fled. During his wanderings outside of Egypt, Moses met a shepherd and later married one of the shepherd's daughters. His life was pretty normal at that point. He had a job and a family. However, one day, as he was just living his life, Moses encountered a bush that was on fire but not burning. God spoke to him through the burning bush, telling him to help set the Jewish people free. Moses was reluctant at first and asked, "Why should I have to do it?" After a lot of back and forth, the portion ends with God convincing Moses to return to Egypt to perform miracles using God's magic. God then promised to turn Pharaoh's heart into stone so that he wouldn't care about the miracles, thus paving the way for Moses to threaten the Egyptian firstborn sons with mass death. Pretty grim. What really interested me as I read this portion was why the Jews who started out as regular citizens and later became slaves didn't try to escape. They were enslaved for a long time. The Pharaoh Moses interacts with isn't the Pharaoh who declared the Jews are now slaves. How did it happen that they went from being citizens to being slaves, and why did they seemingly accept their position as slaves? It's easy for a person with the life I have to say, why don't you just fight back? But the reality is much more complicated than that. As I thought about this story and the Jews' circumstances, I realized that it was very likely that they lost hope that they would ever be free. That's why they didn't try to escape or leave all those years while they were enslaved, including the years when Moses was away. They were disempowered and beaten down until they had to accept that they'd never be free again. They were hopeless. Hopelessness can lead to desperation. It sounds crazy to think of a man claiming that God talked to him through a burning bush, but perhaps the Jews just believed Moses was telling the truth because they were so desperate to escape Egypt that they would believe almost anything. And with enough of them believing that Moses could get them out of there, they were able to collectively rise up and make a change. You can see and understand this in the present day. One example of hopelessness is humanity's attitude towards climate change. It's happening everywhere, all the time. It's done irreversible damage. It's an issue that's too big for one person or even a group of people to fix. In fact, it may not be able to be fixed completely. But that's the hopelessness talking. If we go straight to thinking that it can't be fixed at all, then what's the point of acting? If there's no point in doing anything about it, then it for sure won't be fixed. It's very easy to lose hope with a problem this big and overwhelming, but in reality, everyone needs to work together to address climate change. If people give up because the problem seems too big or unfixable, because they're hopeless, it will never get better. The only way we have a chance of fixing the damage is to work together to find a solution. Back to Shemot. We all know how the story ends. The Jews were enslaved and oppressed, but in the end, they still escaped. The story tells us that things can change, and that we don't have to be resigned and think everything will be this way forever. This portion is a direct response to hopelessness, and when looked at from that perspective, it gives us the inspiration and hope we all need.
That was incredible. I struggle sometimes with hope. I feel more hope just hearing your words. This is not the way the story was supposed to go. I know you know that. This is not the way it's supposed to go. We have this story in Genesis where we're told that Abraham and Sarah's family is going to live happily ever after at home. And then we get to Exodus, and this was not how the story was supposed to go. And so we find ourselves here. We find ourselves in the midst of the wilderness. We find ourselves enslaved in a foreign land in the midst of trauma that feels so hard and so impossible. And so my blessing for you is that you be like the midwives who in the midst of it all, they looked out in their own trauma and in their own awfulness in a world that felt like it was on fire. They looked out and they still managed to find the courage to do what was right and to do what was just and to be radicalized. I loved that word. Into doing what this world needs. And I wish that you be like Moses. I hope that you be like Moses, who when he was so alone at that burning bush, he was reminded that this was not a foreign God, that this was the God of his ancestors, and that you carry this with you, and you remember that you carry with you Sarah and Abraham, Rebekah and Isaac, Rachel, Leah and Jacob, Stephanie and Daniel, that you carry them with you everywhere that you go. And I wish for you that you be like Miriam, who knew that she couldn't be like Moses. She couldn't be like her brother Aaron. She couldn't be like her parents. That if she was going to do what needed to be done in this world, she had to bring her own gifts. And she brought gifts. She was the one who gave us water and wells in the midst of dryness and in the midst of the desert. And so this is my blessing for you, Flannery, that you carry them with you and that you not feel that you need to be someone else, that you always know that what this world needs is you.
Okay, Rabbi Daniel, we want to continue the blessings for you because you really made all this happen, beautifully. Prayers and Torah and Haftorah and your incredible commentary. So not only are the rabbis you've heard from and all this group that's come together for this bat mitzvah, I'm proud of you, but so is the entire community of CRC. And so though that community is represented today by one of our board members, Iris Hinderleiter, who is here and whose own son is in your class who became bar mitzvah. Feels like a long time ago. It was just a few months ago. So here's Iris with some blessings and gifts for you on behalf of your synagogue. We're so happy to have you and your mom part of our congregational family. So there's Iris. There we go.
I'll take my mask off for this. Flannery. Okay. Central Reform is proud to present you with this certificate that says you have become a bat mitzvah. And we have planted 2 trees in your honor in Israel. 1 tree will be planted in a majority Jewish neighborhood and the other in a largely Arab neighborhood. It is our hope that those 2 trees will grow together in a land filled with justice and peace, and that you will one day visit and see the fruits of all that's been planted. Mazel tov, Flannery. And one more. And this is really cool. CRC also gives you the tzedakah jar, which is right here, because we know that you're going to go and do wonderful things and continue the tradition of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. And let me just tell you, it's such a joy to be here with you today, Flannery, and with your mom, Stephanie, and her family. I hope you know you're going to do wonderful, amazing things. We're all confident of that, but we also hope you know that CRC will always, always be here for you. Your community will always love you here. We will always have your back. And the same goes for your mom, Stephanie, as well. All right.
Amen. Thank you. All right. The tune flew out of my head last week, but I think I got it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen, choir. Ah, 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 amen. Blessed is the Holy One whose presence fills creation, the one who gave us our lives and who kept us alive and who brought us, those of us that are here and watching and so proud, brought us here together for this holy moment where you became, Flannery, bat mitzvah. And we all feel so blessed to have been part of this. And let us say, amen. So we're kind of winding down here, Flannery. We want to put the Torah away. So to do that, it's traditional for everyone to, if that's able, to stand. So please ask everyone to.
Please rise.
Correct. And to open the ark, we're going to ask two of your cousins, Jennifer and Joel. Where's Jennifer and Joel? Here they come. Well, hey guys, come on up. They're going to open the ark. And back to the bima, Aunt Sarah, Aunt Rhoda, and Aunt Jess to help put the Torah back in the ark. So come on up, and all of that will happen accompanied by words sung from the book of Proverbs, reminding us once again, as Flannery reminded us by her teaching, that the Torah is a living tree of life.
Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Hadesh Hadesh Amenu Hadesh Amenu
Ask that you remain standing if able while Flannery and Rabbi Karen and I face the ark along with all of you. Face east, that direction of renewal and hope, as we sing the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach on pages 31 and 32. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol L'Atei G'dolah L'Yoseh Bereshit Shelo Asam L'Goyei Haratzot V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem V'goraleinu K'chol Hamonam V'anachnu Korim U'mishtachavim U'modim Lifnei Melech Machei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Shehu Notei Shamayim V'yoseh Haaretz U'moshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Ma'ah
ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, הם מלכנו אל זולתו, הכתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבותה ערב לבדך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad.
Please be seated.
Just for a moment, I want to, before we say Kaddish for our loved ones, want to just make two quick announcements, things that are coming up at CRC. If you're up for coming back tonight, right? Rabbi Daniel is leading a music jam with Havdalah to end Shabbat. 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock. Bring your instruments, bring your voices. You don't have to be great. You just got to make noise together.
In the Psalms, it's called a joyful noise, and I'm sure there will be a joyful noise. So that's this evening. And then I kind of alluded to it with the Torah cover. So those of you who've been here know the name Siona Benjamin, and those of you that haven't, I encourage you, when you get your donuts and coffee on the way out, take a look at the mosaic on the floor of our Oneg room that was painted by a wonderful artist named Siona Benjamin, a Jewish woman from India who created that mosaic. Siona also created the artwork that is on our new Torah cover. And Siona's coming to CRC as... Oh, and the Megillah, that's right. And Purim is coming up, timely. Also painted on the Megillah scroll that's on the hallway by our multi-purpose room. So Siona herself is coming to St. Louis. She and Rabbi Susan are dear friends. And actually, Rabbi Susan led a trip to India. Did anyone here go to India with Rabbi Susan? And Siona was one of the guides on that trip. Pretty remarkable. Siona will be here the first weekend of February 3rd and 4th, talking about the Torah cover, about her artwork, about being Jewish in India, I'm sure. There's going to be an event on Friday night for services, Saturday morning for services. There's going to be a lunch and learn after services, February 4th. And then there'll be a Tu B'Shvat Seder with Siona that evening. So you could call and find out more. It'll be in emails and newsletters and all that kind of stuff, but I think it should be really, really amazing. So everyone is welcome to participate. Next Shabbat is another bat mitzvah of a member of your class, Eva Thimangu, will become bat mitzvah next Saturday. And I had one more thing, but I forgot, so we'll just let it go for now. But please check always the announcements, the emails, and we hope that you can get involved with all the things that we do as a sacred community. Oh, I know. I remembered. I talked enough to remember. It's kind of what I do. It's a process. But fourth graders. So what you all are going to do is head over to the multi-purpose room, right through those doors. And we're not going to spend that much time together, but you are going to have lunch together. We've provided lunch, and we're going to talk a little bit about what you all just experienced and what you have to look forward to the next couple of years as you start your journey towards Beit Mitzvah. So just kind of step through those doors, and I'll meet you over there. And that's what I wanted to say. So we're going to transition now to a difficult part of the service, but an important one. We want to make sure that we connect to those who came before us, to those people who we've loved and lost, whose shoulders we stand upon. And to begin, Flannery has some remembrances, and there's some just amazing pictures.
we can only do color pictures on the covers, but we're looking at the color picture, and trust me, your dad's hair, and you're right. There's a long tradition of awesome hair and awesome hair colors in your family, and so go ahead, Flannery, and tell us who you're remembering.
Today, I'm remembering my dad, Yaya, Uncle Brendan, Uncle Howard, Grandma Paula, and Grandma Gladys. They will always be with us.
Yes, they will. But we also want to make sure if there's anyone here who wants to add a name, whether you're in the year of mourning for a loved one or whether you've suffered a recent loss, we want to hear from you and hear the names so we could fill the sanctuary with their names. I'm going to start, Howie, with you. For your mom and your dad, we've been saying Kaddish for them all year, and they passed away within weeks of one another, and we love them, and we love you and your family, and may their memories be a blessing. Yes, please. We remember him on this day. May his memory be a blessing. Stuart. We remember them with you. Thank you. Yes. For your mom, Zikrona Livracha. And yeah, blessed memory. Thank you. You guys can stay standing if you want, and we'll all stand together. And Nancy. We remember them with you, thinking about you and your family as you continue the mourning path for your wonderful mother. We remember them, Marie Sculler, husband and father and grandpa and friend and pillar of the community and uncle, brother, all the things that he was and always will be. Gloria, and I can picture her, and I can picture Maurice, just so privileged to know both of them and then to see the two of you together. And they died just within hours of one another. So, thinking about you, sending love, and thinking about them. Larry. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you. And Robert.
My grandfather, Joseph Fishbone, and a friend and neighbor, David Walker.
We remember them too. Thank you. Janine.
Very good friends, Rebecca Agnew, Donald Warren, and Patrick Beasley.
May all of their memories be a blessing. Myra? Okay. I know you guys had Passover, right, all together? Yeah. Wow. Family. Yep, that's what it is. That's what it's all about. And Diane. Oh, sorry. Sorry for your loss. My condolences. Did I miss anybody? Leslie.
Lois Lumstein, and it's Jack O'Glender's yard son.
Yeah.
And Renee.
Thank you. Yes, please. Is that Beth? For your father, may his memory be a blessing. Thank you. Can we all stand together with our mourners? And also we have other names to add on this Shabbat, including the yahrzeit of Preston Bank and Marcus Bluestein and Lucy Goldman, Thea Matthews, Barbara Sabrach, Stanley Tucker and Anna Zoll, Charles Ehenworth and Robert Fauser, Mel Shapiro, and Selena Green, Maria DeShield's young daughter, Marilyn Corley and Cerna Corness, Alexander Dane and Teresa De Placido, Patricia Roop Smith and Dolly Sitzer, Bill Sitzer's mom. And it's Lucille Pattitz's yahrzeit coming up, your grandma, your mom's mom. And Art Lash, we've been saying Kaddish for Art for this whole year, Gloria's husband and Jeff and Leslie's father. And then also Eleanor Flegel, who was Lauren Sagel's mother. It's also the yard site of Abraham Joshua Heschel, Rabbi Heschel, his 50th yard site, who marched with Dr. King and who told us that we're all responsible. We're all responsible for bringing more justice to the world. And then our recent losses include Kathy Lass, longtime member of CRC, and Bobby Sparks, and as Leslie said, Louis Lumstein, of blessed memory. Safe Weissman and Ann Epstein, Joyce Steinberg and Harvey Fenster, Marie Scholar and Gloria Sirkin. Their names are right next to each other on our list. Janet Cunningham and Bert Newman, David Adelstein and Lois Chait and Nikki Narmark. More members of CRC that have passed away this past year include Bill Weiner and Larry Mange, David Kaskowitz, Alice Handelman and Josh Porter, Nina Balsam and Robert Woofsey, Howie's parents, Martin and Francis Ilovicki, and Renee Deal, Aubrey Yawitz, and let's see, Marta Vainberg, Stuart Milner, Vera Bon Croft, and here's your dad's name, Daniel Williams, a blessed, blessed, blessed memory, and Sidney Wolf, Alan and Merle's son. Oh, thank you. Autumn, other names from the stream?
Safe Weissman and Jack Oglander.
Yeah. Amazing, wonderful people that really graced our lives. And of course, Adina Talvi Goodman. So, with their pictures and with their names, part of our service and part of this bat mitzvah and part of our lives, we say Kaddish for them on pages 35 and 36. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba be'alma divra kirotei v'yamlich malchutei v'chaye echon v'yom echon chaye dechol beit Yisrael b'agala uvizman kari ve'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabba mivarach le'olam omei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yit hadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel ve'imru Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imru amen.
Zikronam levracha, may all of their memories be an eternal blessing. Amen. And please be seated one more time. And we're going to invite up Flannery, your mom, to talk to you. And I know that, well, maybe you're going to mention it, so I'll hold off.
I'm doing a speech and then you can go. Oh, hug, yeah. All right. Flannery, I think we both know that Dad would have given this speech, not me. For an introverted dude who preferred low-key hangs at home and found interacting with people to be annoying at best, Dad sure enjoyed talking to a crowd and generally making a spectacle of himself. And truly, he loved nothing more than being able to do it in service of boasting about how great you are, how unique and lively and funny, and how proud he was of you. Dad loved to tell a Flannery story. He could be downright gleeful about it if the vibe was right. So if Dad were here, he'd for sure take this opportunity to tell a story about you, and on this momentous occasion, it would be only fitting for him to pick one that reflected a bigger truth about you as a person and gave some insight into the continuity of self from baby Flannery to teen Flannery. Because you see, as your parents, we're uniquely positioned in some ways to follow that thread as you grow up. And actually, that's the thing about being a person and growing up that's so amazing. You change as it happens, yearly, daily. What you want for yourself changes, your interests change, and it's a dumb truism, but the only constant in life really is change. Sometimes the changes aren't that great or fair, but they happen anyway. And our job as people is to translate all of that change and growth and development into a coherent whole self. There's a thought experiment called the Ship of Theseus. Bear with me because I'm going to tell you about it. Theseus is a figure in Greek mythology whose main claim to fame is slaying the Minotaur and rescuing the Athenian children who were sent to Crete as a tribute. It's a very interesting story, but for a different time. Every year, to commemorate this act of heroism, Athenians took his ship on a pilgrimage, and so the thought experiment goes, if the ship is taken out year after year, and in the interim is maintained and pieces of the ship are repaired or replaced, a point is reached where Theseus's ship no longer has any of its original parts. And the question is that the same ship? In that way, if as you grow up, every part of you changes, every personality trait evolves, every childhood interest is replaced with something more grown up, are you even the same person you were? Echoes of past yous exist in present you, and you have the unbroken chain of your memory telling you you're the same person. But what we all find so fascinating is how you've taken those innate traits, the ones you were born with that Dad and I could only hope to direct but couldn't ever really parent out of you, and honestly never wanted to, how you've taken those traits to become exactly who you are. So here's where the Flannery story goes, I think, the one that demonstrates how you're still the same you from back in the day. I have to admit that I kept getting stuck right here as I wrote this, and I think it's because I've always thought of this speech as Dad's speech with me as his proxy, and I truly don't know what story he would have picked. But it probably would have been something a little bit silly and a little bit embarrassing, and I can just about guarantee that he would have tried to make us laugh or groan rather than being serious or inspiring. His comic timing was, as you know, impeccable. If this were my speech, though, the story I'd tell is the story of a baby who showed from day 3 that she was the strongest personality among a family made up entirely of strong personalities. A baby who seemed to operate in the standard way at the hospital, but who revealed her true shouty nature the very first night we spent at home. A baby whose pediatrician legit said, "That might be the loudest baby I've ever met." A baby who kept our next door neighbors up with her overnight screaming and who continues to this day to be as loud as the day is long. This wasn't a chill baby who was satisfied to be parked in a playpen or a pumpkin seat. Oh no, this was a baby who wanted to be held facing the world, thank you very much, so she could see where the action was. And when we held her and took her with us and narrated our actions to her, well, okay, she still screamed and fought sleep and rubbed her tiny feet together in rage, but the force of that personality, that big, big personality in that little, little body, that was something that Dad and I never wanted to squash. A classic Flannery story, one I return to a lot when I try to explain to people what it's like to be your parent, is this. The advice you're given as a parent of a toddler is to give choices. Toddlers don't want to be told what to do. They want to feel some agency in their lives. Same. So you don't tell a toddler it's time to brush your teeth. You ask, would you like to brush your teeth? Or would you like to put on your jammies? Both choices you give them are acceptable to you, the parent. They pick one, they get to flex the muscles of their tiny but growing independence, and everyone's happy. Flannery, though? Flannery. This Flannery right here, the one who does what she's gonna do despite anyone's efforts at waking her up early or putting together to-do lists, this Flannery, 100% always picked option C, the option not offered. Would you like to brush your teeth, or would you like to put on your jammies? Pick out clothes. Okay, yes, that's technically something that needs to happen before bed, so you got me there, but I sure don't recall that being one of the 2 options I offered. So what do? Do I dig in? Do I get into a power struggle with a tiny person that, yes, I can probably win, but at what cost? Or do I empower her to forge her own path? So many children, especially girl children, are told to quiet down and rein it in and clip themselves into perfect little bonsai trees of accommodating politeness and milquetoast niceness. And I guess I too have been guilty of snapping, hey, we're all in the same room, what if you were quieter? But the actual fact of your strong personality, of your being exactly who you are, not because of anything Dad and I did, but because it's just how you arrived on this planet, that's flipping amazing. You shine. You glow. You're incandescent. And all Dad and I ever hoped to do was help you aim yourself before you shot off like a comet. So, okay then, so what do we hope for you as you prepare to careen past the stars? Well, on this, I'm very clear what Dad would have said. We only talked about it like 1 billion times. What Dad wanted for you more than anything, even more than he wanted you to consider starting a band someday, is for you to be your best self in everything you do. It's not enough to be smart if you don't use it. It's not enough to appreciate our good fortune and privilege if you don't share it. And it's not even enough to glow if you don't light the way for others. Dad, of course, was all for the judicious application of half-assing things that don't really matter. But on the flip side, he said more times than I can count that if a thing's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Extrapolate that out to infinity, and it's clear that merely existing isn't enough. You've got to use your strong personality to be a force of good. And so I share this with you in the hope that it sticks. Although, truly, I remember very little from my mom's speech at my own bat mitzvah, apart from an acknowledgement that we argued every day that week. So, maybe that's optimistic. You've been through a lot in your 13 years, no question. And what it's proven to me is how tremendously resilient you are. And you don't have to be, not all the time. We all struggle in our own ways. But the fact is that we keep going anyway because that's really the only choice. And as proud as I am of you in just about every way, I think we both know that Dad would be elbowing his way in to make sure everyone knew he was even prouder. Prouder of the work you've put into making it to this day, prouder of your journey from shouty baby to shouty teen, and most of all, prouder than anyone has ever been in the history of people of your big personality, so obviously a direct result of the combination of our own. I love you very much, little babe.
Stay right here. Amen.
We're going to do a closing blessing. Why don't you go stand next to
A few
Flannery?
blessings. Flannery, one more time. Do you want to tell everyone that is seated they can?
Please rise.
Be all shouty about it.
And to add a little more sweetness to this already wonderful day, we say a blessing over some wine. So if you'd like to join with me, you want to raise it up really high? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Amen. Take a sip. I think it's grape juice.
L'chaim. All right. So, challah. Everyone is invited for yummy donuts, right? And coffee. So, like, what could be better than that on a Shabbat early afternoon? On your way out, so you can give Flannery a mazel tov and have donuts and coffee, and also grab a piece of challah. And there's always enough to go around. That's what it's all about. Share with each other. Martin Luther King Day is supposed to be a day on, not a day off. That's how, so, you know, that's sharing is a big part of that. So I'm going to give you hold that challah, and we make a blessing for gratitude, and all we have to nourish ourselves and one another, and ultimately how we nourish the planet, we say. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. But Flannery, you've been doing all the work, so you get the first bite of the challah before it goes out there. I don't know if you get the first, what's that? You, of course you get to pick what slice. All right.
My kind of person.
Go for it.
I'll take
I don't know if you get first donut, but that's kind of out of my control. So Rabbi Daniel, can you well, here, you'll stay down there. Thank you to Rabbi Daniel, Leslie, Robert for the music once again. We always end our service as we put our arms around each other, our arms around our newest bat mitzvah, Flannery. Take a mental photograph, hold inside everything that this service has meant to each of you, and we leave each other with a blessing from the same Torah scroll that Flannery chanted from. Words of peace and love, words of blessing. We say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you always. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
And may you take some of the light and love that you have brought to us, and hopefully we have given to you, and put it out into the world to make it a much better place.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Most of all, may this world, may our lives, may this Shabbos be one of peace. May our days be filled with peace. May our generation be filled with peace. And may this whole community feel some of the amazing peace that comes from you and your incredible hair.
Let us say amen. And Shabbat Shalom. And Mazel Tov to Flannery.
Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Yelanu. Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Yelanu. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, Yelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova, Mazel Tova, Simen Tova, Simen Tova, Mazel Tova.